Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle, and today we have with us Miles Austin, who is the founder of Fill the Funnel. Miles, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mike. Looking forward to our conversation today. I always love listening to your podcasts of all the other guests you brought on. They're always a treat to learn something from.
Awesome. I'm glad to have someone that is a listener and a follower, and I feel like I'm the one that's kind of sitting at the feet of the gurus, no matter whether you're a named guru or not. I think that everyone has something to contribute, and if we can look for ways that we can pull a nugget of knowledge out of every interaction, I think it's awesome. So let's start with even just the name of your firm, Fill the Funnel. I love that because it's a simple command, because in reality, in business, it doesn't matter what business we're in, or sales, it doesn't matter what we're selling. You got to fill your opportunity. So tell us a little bit about how you chose the name, and then what does Fill the Funnel do?
Well, thanks. Yeah, the truth is I've been a sales guy. I thought I was a sales guy for almost 30 years. I've spent almost all of that time in tech, high tech usually, small companies, my own startups, Dell. Big and small. I've run the gamut. Private, public. I've done them all. And I always was in one type or another of a sales role. Early on as a sales producer, individual, and then through the years moving up through the executive ranks. And I always looked at myself and thought of myself as a salesperson, right? And I was always in a business development kind of a mentality. I'm always looking for new opportunities, and the term fill the funnel was always in my mind. What I didn't realize until about 10 years ago when I sold my last company and got into the full-time fill the funnel business, if you will, was that fill the funnel is as much, if not more, a marketing term than it was a sales term. And then I started, as I dug into it, realizing that sales is marketing and marketing is sales in this society we live in anyway. And you know what the bottom line is? I have not ever met a business person who said, Miles, I've got too many leads, I've got too much opportunity, and I wish there was a way I could empty my funnel a little bit, right?
Yep.
So that was really it. And I learned over the years that a lot of times really crystal clear focus is a really important part of success in business. And for me, focus every day when I start to work, I go log into my computer, I go log into my website. Fill the Funnel is pretty darn clear, and it reminds me every day what my purpose is, and what I'm doing is always measured against, can I help people fill their funnel?
Yeah, I love that because, it's kind of like, I forget who said it or whether it's just a old wives' tale kind of a statement, but it's like nothing happens until a sale happens, because who cares about how many website visitors you had, right, or how many downloads of whatever. But you make an interesting point about sales and marketing, and I would venture to say if we had a panel of people on the call, and let's say we had 10, all 10 would say, marketing is better than sales and comes first, and then the other, all 10, the other 100%, would say, no, sales is. I feel that they're so interrelated, and you can make a case for either side. And I really think that when you dig in deeper, because the general line of thought is marketing raises awareness, sales closes the deal. And I think in a broad brush sense, that makes a lot of sense. But here's what I think that people are missing these days. And I personally, my latest book is called Authority Selling, and I touch on this. But think of Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, and his most recent one, Persuasion. If we want to persuade someone to buy from us, so sales, we need to persuade them, which is pre-framing your position, content, expertise, whatever you want to call it, before you even have that sales interaction. Well, that's marketing. So talk a little bit about what you've seen over the years where sales and marketing really do overlap like that, and you have to give someone the the reason to even click on your dumb link or download your white paper or whatever, because that's a sales transaction in and of itself, trading their email for your content.
It's the core, and I am convinced over the years, both again as a salesperson and as a sales leader, that if I only wait as a salesperson out in the field or on the phone if I'm inside, if I only wait until my, quote, marketing team generates something for me, I will be mediocre at best and probably less than that.
And your kids will be always starving.
Yeah, absolutely. The best sales, the best leads, the best and biggest opportunities I've ever enjoyed in a sales role were those that I developed. And again, looking back from a different set of lenses, I realized I was doing marketing. I was doing pre-qualification. I was building that persuasion from Cialdini. I mean, that is the case. In fact, I remember all the way back, way too many years ago, to my college days, I was a political science major. I had a professor in my first political science course. He said, Miles, in a democracy, the minority has the capability of becoming the majority by persuasion, not by force.
I'll tell you what, you just brought up something I've never thought of before. But I would love to see, you ever see these military people that come out of the military and then they go to be management consultants and they're awesome because of all the, rigid and diligent work that they've done. I would love to see a sales trainer come out of the political arena, because politicians are the ultimate salespeople, right? Just like what you just said.
Yeah. Well, it was, and it was intriguing. I was involved early on in my life in politics for a while. I loved it, but I hated it because I didn't like all the other stuff that went with it. And very frankly, the only measurement was win or lose. And then I realized after you won, whatever the election was, I looked around and I realized my excitement really wasn't then to deliver against that for 2 years or 4 years, right? It was the thrill of the hunt of winning the election.
Yeah.
And that was a part of my learning internally, right? I think we all are motivated in different ways. But for me, it's the seeking of the goal, and that's why I've always been a builder, not a maintainer. That's someone else's role in my world, in my companies, in my life. I get really bored. I want to go find something new that I can help someone with.
So when you are working with clients or businesses now, what sales and marketing initiatives are you focusing on most these days right now that you're seeing a gap? You're working with someone and you're noticing what they're doing right now is not working. What is that that's not working, and what are you doing to help them close that gap?
Well, to me anyway, it's become very clear. Let me give you a couple of real bullets to think about. There's over 28 million small businesses in the U.S., and small businesses to me is under 2 million in sales. 78, and that was according to Forbes, 78% of small businesses have a website. 78%. 81% of them are using social media in some way, right? So they get it. They know they're supposed to. They've gone out and they've started. But here's what the people at HubSpot did a survey a while back that I really latched onto, because I thought, it's the pain I'm hearing in the people I'm talking to as business owners, salespeople, entrepreneurs. Only about 22% of businesses are satisfied with their conversion rates. Taking someone from an interest to take action to engage at some level throughout their, quote, sales funnel. 65% of those businesses still today are saying generating leads is their main challenge. So all of what I've done over the last year and a half is kind of refocus what I'm trying to do to help people understand, as I know you believe, in the power of a presence online, not just as a Facebook profile or a LinkedIn profile, but a core hub of activity, which is your own site. And from there, everything else then disseminates out, social media, sharing, whatever it might be. But most businesses, the vast majority, even up through the midsize, are not generating any kind of measurable conversion from their website to the next step, to engage into conversation, transfer into business potential sales, because there's nothing there on the site. And I found that's what people, I have a picture in my mind. Tell me if you can relate to this as well. I picture a woman sitting at her desk in her business that she's building, and she's staring at a computer screen, and her head is in her hands. Yeah. She's a brilliant person, but she's just overwhelmed with the tech that is now in front of all of us as business people, as entrepreneurs, as salespeople, and as marketing people. There's so much out there, and people literally just freeze. They just shut down. Yeah. They know all these things they should be doing, but they really have no idea where to begin.
You know, I love that first stat that you mentioned, which is the number of businesses and then the number that have a website. 78%, that sounds great. But if you flip it around, 22% don't. That's over 6 million of those businesses that don't even have a website and don't even get to the point you just said, which is optimization and, you know, conversion and all of those things, which are art forms and scientific ways of approaching things. They don't even get to that point yet. And it's kind of like, you know, the age-old statistics about direct response. You know, wow, I had a 2% direct response, right? That's amazing. Well, the problem is you had a 98% failure rate.
Yep, no, absolutely. Well, and I think it goes through a lot of things in our lives. We always, and you know, I'm the same way. I'd love to have a fast result if I had a choice, but I want a result, period. And if I have to nurture and develop and wait for a while, that's okay, because the alternative is no opportunity, and that doesn't feed the family, right? So, I mean, to me anyway, it is the understanding of what your primary purpose is online on a website and your online presence, and even all the social media platforms. To me, there should be one word pasted right across the top of your monitor or your whiteboard or your mirror, and it should say conversion. Because if you're not converting, what are you wasting your time for? Go do something different. Because if you're not converting, the benefit of your effort, your money, and your time are never going to be realized.
Yeah, so what do you find is the solution to get that woman's head out of her hands, so to speak?
Well, and your book falls right into it, Mike, because I believe that people need to find a source, a trusted authority on a topic. My focus for the last 10 years at Fill the Funnel has been on the tools of the trade, focused almost exclusively on sales and marketing professionals, whether they're in a leadership role or individual salespeople. And so I always tell people, look, it doesn't have to be me. Do your research, do your homework, go online, go really dig, read the content of what those that are either self-professed, which I always say run from quickly as experts or gurus, but go find people that have respect of the community that they serve and pick one on a topic and commit to follow through and take action. Because I think too many times there's all of our news feeds and our emails and everything else, we'll get, I don't know about you, I probably get 200 a day. And my first activity every morning is to go through and sort through and probably delete, out of that 200, probably delete 150 of them, because I just know either I know what the topic is, I know who they are, or it's some kind of promotion that I've already either been involved with or I don't want, or whatever it might be. But I still like the content. I want to see the next one, so I don't unsubscribe, right? But I think too many times... You made
an excellent point right there, but what do you say to the people that tell you, I have no time?
Again, I would say pick one then. And look, the best thing is, one thing I learned when I was at Dell is test it. Test everything. So look, if you're not sure which, quote, guru, which expert, which thought leader to go follow, then just take one and try it. And if it resonates, if it feels good in your gut, your emotions, your heart, your brain, it all fits right and it fits budget restrictions and all of those things, then run with it, right? If not, go find another one. But don't sit there with your head in your hands. And I can't tell you how many times I've painted. I have some graphics we use in art when I'm doing speaking. And people come up and say, Miles, that photo is me. It might be at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting there with my head going to explode, or I'm early in the morning, or I'm middle of the day, or someone asked me a question on my website, or there's an interaction, and I don't know what to do. I'll use a perfect example that to me is like a base level entry. If you're in business and you don't do this, you shouldn't be able to have a license to be in business. And that is to have some form of a prospect and customer retention system. And by that I mean an email system, I don't care whether you use MailChimp or HubSpot or Aweber. It doesn't matter to me, right? But I can't tell you how many businesses don't have a basic email subscriber list, period. They just don't.
That's an asset, isn't it? And just like we were saying about people that don't have a website / web presence, man, if you are one of those 6 million businesses that don't or don't spend much time on it, at least collect email addresses to wrap your arms around your own tribe, and you can do it without a website, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you can have like a generic whichever one you choose, like you said, but a lot of these ones have a little form you can create that goes, hey, download our blah, blah, blah. And you can just even manually ask people as you're talking on the phone, as they come into your store, as you meet them at the chamber function, and go, hey, you know what, funny you bring that up. I just wrote a white paper on that, or I just wrote a blog post. Let me email it to you. What's your email address? They're going to give it to you because you're not going to, it's in person. And I would venture to say, and maybe you would have seen this too, but there's a lot of businesses out there that are letting things slip through the cracks with things that are already happening. They're too focused on getting something to happen initially, like have people come in the door, but once they come in the door or call you on the phone and you're interacting with them, they're missing the opportunity to stay in touch. And to your point,
Absolutely.
it is so easy. It's mostly free. I mean, a lot of these tools you don't have to pay a lot for, and you don't have to have fancy graphics. I think that sometimes the most effective emails are just a quick 2 or 3 paragraph nugget of knowledge.
Absolutely. In fact, honestly, I've pretty much eliminated all of my, quote, graphic or HTML type emails, even on my newsletter subscriber list, because what I found is, first of all, where's everyone reading those? At least in my instance, about 70% are looking at them on their phone. Yep. Well, graphics, if they do translate, are going to make it look weird and ugly and kind of cramped around anyway. Just give them text. When I send you, we're buddies, and I send you an email, do I send you a bunch of graphics in it, Mike? Of course not, right? It's just, hey, what do you think about having lunch tomorrow? Here's a really neat thing. Check this link out. Boom.
Yeah,
that's
there's
text.
a header.
Yeah. And I'm a huge believer. A lot of people, not a lot, but there's people on both sides of this. I'm a huge believer in what's called the double opt-in process. And all that means is if you click a link on my website or anywhere that you find me, LinkedIn or wherever, with the link to sign up for my newsletter about tech and tools and training, that's what I do. So if you don't want that, then clearly don't click it and don't sign up. Yeah. But when they do, and they give me an email or an email and a name in some cases, they're going to get an email instantly back that says, hey, this is Miles, thanks. I'm looking forward to communicate with you. Are you sure is basically what it says. You won't get anything else from me unless you click here. But it just says, yeah, I understand. I wasn't confused. Boom. I want to learn more about tools and technology for sales and marketing. And then they click that button. So I know they've given me permission, right? How many people would love to say, if I can talk to 5 people a day and every one of them raised their hand and said, yes, I welcome you into my home or my office to talk to me about what you do. I mean, what's that worth?
Right.
And yet more than half of the businesses out there don't, down to the point that individual salespeople. I have clients and customers and attendees at my events that work at big companies like HP and Toshiba. They have individual email accounts at Aweber or at MailChimp, and they link those to their things like their LinkedIn profile. And one of the options on their websites is to sign up for my newsletter. And what I'm a printer salesperson at HP, or I'm a medical supply salesperson at XYZ. I know what they do, and I'd like to keep in touch with you and learn about my profession through you. Right?
Yeah, but what do you think about this? I see those things, and I always tell clients and people I speak to, please reword that. Nobody wants to sign up for a newsletter or an e-zine, right? Think of something compelling that your target audience may want to learn about, one thing, one nugget, and make that the title of your opt-in request. Hey, download our white paper on the 3 critical mistakes that blah, 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 or just something like that, or get our 10 most requested productivity hacks. And it's a 1-page PDF document you create, and when they put their name in, then they get the PDF, and then now you can get whatever email follow-up series that you have. But I think that you've got to sell that click.
Generally, I would agree with you. And most of the things that we do have some kind of a give me back kind of a scenario tied to it. But as an example, when you go, Mike, when you go to fillthefunnel.com, right at the very top and right at the very bottom of my front page, boom, it's right in your face, is, hey, just sign up for our weekly updates. And all I talk about is tools and technology and blah, 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 blah. There is no offer, there's no freebie or anything. And the truth is, over the last several years, I test everything. That is still the number one way for people to get on my list. And what I've discovered is if they come and they want a white paper on 10 new tips for whatever it might be, pretty websites, well, that's a specific interest, so I got to make sure I tag them when they sign up that was their specific interest. Right. When I find people that come in and say, I just want to learn about technology, tools, tips, and training on this topic, I have someone who has a general interest in what I do. So now I have an opportunity to nurture and develop and segment going forward. So I think there's room for both. And I agree with what you're saying.
I'm on your website right now, and you're doing it the way that I said needed to be done. You know, like a lot of times you see people that just say, sign up for our newsletter, name, email. Here's what you have, a big box that says tools, insight, training. Okay, interesting. And then if you pride yourself on staying up to date, so now you're appealing to someone's, self-esteem. I do like to stay up to date, right? Mm-hmm. And then you will receive email updates, bite-sized chunks, special opportunities. To me, those are words that are really cool. And then your name and email, then it's the button to click says, keep me up to date. So I love that whole, psychology of selling that click. And then now down at the bottom it says register now and join our insider list. Now, wait a minute here. I want to be part of that, red velvet rope, red carpet insider list. I want to be part of that. So the way you're doing that is exactly what people should be doing, because you want to kind of give them that exclusivity.
Right. Well, you're right. In fact, what I call the secret handshake. When I do webinars, when I do rollouts, a lot of times when I'll write a review or a post about a new tool, I go to the creator and the developer of that tool and say, look, I want something special. I want to provide, if they're reading about you here on Fill the Funnel, I want something that they know they can get here, what I call the secret handshake, right? We all know, you got the secret little decoder ring when we're young. I want to feel, you mentioned the velvet rope, I want to be able to go to the front of the line and be whisked right in and maybe through a separate door. It makes me feel really good. And I have, over the years, had so many people say, Miles, all I know is what I'm going to get is a straight shot from you on the reviews or your tool posts, etc. And I know I'm not going to find some super-duper better deal somewhere, at least at the launch of the product, right? Mm-hmm. So, no, absolutely so. And I think it's just as proven time and time again. And yet when you're on the site, when you go to leave the site, something else pops up. And that's very specific, which then takes them into the same list but gives them a tag that says these people are interested in more sales, right? And that's, again, an opportunity to say, okay, general interest, but specifically they want more sales, right? And now I have an ability to take it a step further. So it works. And yet, look, I'm improving and working on that every single day in my work week, because I know that I always have room to grow and improve, and I'm learning. I'm on a webinar at 10:30 my time here on the West Coast today about how to write more effective sales follow-up emails. Yeah. Right? I mean, I've taught the darn classes, but I'm learning from someone I've never heard of before, had a great reputation.
That says a whole lot, because we always need to be refining and perfecting. And who cares that you've taught a class before? Somebody might have one extra little tweak that you might learn from. And I'll tell you, I've taught classes on email marketing as well. But let me tell you something I learned last week. Somebody, and I literally forget who it was, but some article that I read, I think in like a neuromarketing blog post, but they were talking about when someone, how do you sign off your emails? Best regards, warm regards, talk soon, right? They found that there was like a 64% increase in whatever, responsiveness or engagement when you sign off your email that says, thank you in advance. So that gratitude, that one little thing, thank you in advance. And then they said, now when you are asking someone an email, whatever the question is, and you say thank you in advance, hey, do you think you could blah, blah, blah. Like, for instance, I just had another article published on Forbes last week. I sent out an email to a short list of people on my list that know me, like me, trust me, and I said thank you in advance. And lo and behold, some people emailed back, hey, congrats, I posted this on my Twitter or whatever. And I found something else in that one post. They said, when someone thanks you for something, don't just say you're welcome, say, oh, you're welcome, I know you do the same for me. And let me tell you, I used that for those two things I just mentioned, thanks in advance and I know you do the same for me, when someone thanked me, and I got two of the most glowing, deeper, responses back, oh, hey, thank you so much. Hey, by the way, what's one thing that I could do to help you? And it was just unbelievable, these little teeny little tweaks, one-line little things. And like you mentioned about the webinar you're going to be on, there's going to be one nugget you pull away that you can use yourself or teach a business owner or client of yours. And I just love that. Tony Robbins teaches CANI, constant and never-ending improvement.
Yeah, no, I love to learn. That's for me. It's just part of I enjoy it. And I guess, I always cringe when people throw around self-described terms of expert and gurus and all that. Look, we're all in this game of life together. And my experiences are different from yours. And what I found is when you and I sit down and we talk about a topic, I'm going to learn some things from you because you've had different experiences than I have. Yeah. That's the beauty of what we do in our society. If we listen to each other instead of just blasting all the time and not come up for air. I've watched the news over the last 6 months, as I'm sure you have, and I'm tired of watching a bunch of talking heads argue their point, and they never listen. They never, stop. And literally, I always say, I hold my chin like I have a beard, which I don't. And I just want to listen. And if people would just take a few extra seconds to do that, their life and their success will grow exponentially.
Agree 1,000%. And I think that you and the listeners can sense that we've probably covered 1 point of 1,000 that we could keep on going, and we could come up for air and 4 hours later still be going, ooh, and another thing. So why don't we close it down with what's the best way that people can learn more about you and your company, Fill the Funnel? Because I've really enjoyed our talk. I love your approach and your personality. I think that you have a lot to share.
Thanks. The easiest thing for me is always to say one thing. Just go to fillthefunnel.com. If you want to learn how to get a hold of me, just go to fillthefunnel.com and click on the contact button, and you're going to see 7 or 8 or 9 different ways to contact me: social media, email, phone. If you're on a mobile device, you click that little icon, it'll dial the phone directly, and you're going to come directly to my cell phone. So unless I'm with the client or I'm live on an event like what we're doing together today, Mike, you're going to get me, and I'm going to respond, and I love the engagement.
Awesome. Well, Miles, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to watching you around out there in the interwebs, as they say.
Thanks very much. I appreciate the opportunity. I know you'd have done the same for me, Mike.
Hey, there you go. Look at you learning already. Hey, you have a great day, Miles.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.